Spend enough time at that table. Oh, come on.
It's an awkward meeting hall, you stand behind me.
Okay, so the reason why we called the meeting is just a workshop for you guys to like kind of see if we can square things away as far as procedures going, dealing with Phillipstown and Nelsonville equally. This whole thing with Nelsonville, we have to work something out on that. Hopefully we can discuss an option or whatever tonight, or see if you guys have any thoughts on that. You guys started this conversation with them. And now we're in a position where you guys aren't getting money from them. Of course, they're saying that they're sending it, but they're not sending everything. So that's one thing. First thing I'd like to discuss is kind of going forward with the municipalities and negotiating with them. I brought John. John first is our attorney, just in case there's questions or you want to know legally. We're not just coming up with something out of nowhere. I think you guys know all of this anyway, because I think you went through all of this stuff like 4 years ago and talked to the comptroller, if I understand, and as far as dealing directly and what's required by law. So. Moving forward, we sent you the letter. We sent Phillipstown a letter. We sent Nelsonville a letter saying that they'd be dealing directly with us. So what that means is we discuss, or we have a meeting like this every year or whatever, where you guys present to us, your requests, as far as funding goes, with hopefully reasons for any increases. You guys have always been good, but I don't think anyone would dispute that. So, but if you're asking for 10% or 5% or whatever, we just need some justification on that. I think makes sense in any business. So there's that. Once, we come to agreement, you guys got to agree on whatever the number is. We agree on that, and then we sit at the table with, Nelsonville or Phillipstown. I think in the past, Phillipstown has paid you directly. That's going to change. The money is going to be just like Nelsonville. We're going to deal with both municipalities the same exact way. They'll be sending checks to us. We forward them to you, unless of course they decide they don't like what's happening either and want to have a referendum of their own or whatever they want to do. So, any questions on that, or is that a problem at all?
My only concern, it would just be, again, we're not getting the money. So that's, again, I don't mind, the town's great. They send us a check, it's immediately there. It goes back to what you already talked about. I guess we'll circle around to Nelsonville, because that's what ends up happening. So now I'm even more a little apprehensive, because I feel like, not that the town would, I think, but you know that. I mean, I didn't think Nelsonville would not pay either, I guess, or the full amount. So that's kind of what we're, just on the record, that would be my concern. But, again, you have the right to do it, so we'll do it, and hopefully they pay, but...
Okay,
I just want
so
to make sure
to go to Nelsonville and the problem with Nelsonville, first of all, you guys started talking with them, and Bill O'Neill, being misinformed, Mayor O'Neill that is, he wanted to cut us out of the whole equation, and that's obvious. And to me, it is. Maybe you can say differently or whatever, but he had conversations with you guys that we didn't know about. And then he was under the impression that, he got some misinformation from NICOM, thought that he could deal with you guys directly and we wouldn't be involved at all, which what you guys should have understood back then. You guys know it. You guys talk to each other. You can't do that. But he's under the impression you can, and then he starts this whole thing. Honestly, I feel like you got their back more than the villages, or you're working for us. I'm working for my constituents. I'm working for the village. We're all working for the village. And they're paying taxes. So unless you guys got something different view on it, it's like, why should the village be paying more for a service, for the same service that they're getting? And that's what they're asking for. They're asking not to be paid for workers' comp or LoSAP. So, if you guys don't want LoSAP, is that a problem? Is it that insignificant to you?
No.
Do you guys not want workers' comp? We have to give you workers' comp, so why shouldn't they pay for it? So the question, I guess, is workers' comp is part of what you need. It's part of the package. If we have fire protection from you, one of the things is workers' comp. So how can that not be something that we pass along, a portion of it?
Right. I don't know if you're asking me or you just
I'm just-
stating.
I-
Yeah, because that's not my problem again, because I'm just looking for the money. So my only concern
But
again
it is a
if we don't-
problem because it seems like you guys aren't backing the village, and it seems like we're not. It seems like it's like, hey, we got to talk to them, or
Yeah, we're not back. I don't think it's about backing anybody. I just,
Well,
again, let me first clarify, we're not working for the village. I'm gonna
let
be
me
honest with you, I
clarify.
wanna
You're a
be like-
department of the village, though, so you
Sure.
work through us. I'm not
think-
trying to control you, but I would
I
hope
know,
that we'd have each other's backs.
We're not workers for the village. We're volunteers.
I
That woman with the
understand that.
tree lady screaming, "We're volunteers!" at the meeting. We should probably say that too. We're volunteers. Let's get that straightened out.
we understand
We're
that.
not workers.
You don't
can
have
do
to
what you
straighten
want.
that out.
You can look at him all you want. We're volunteers because if I just get up and walk out, then I'm all done. Then you could close the doors, which is what you probably want anyway. And then I don't know what you're going to do with your fire protection. But again, it's not my concern. So
Well,
I'm just clarifying.
let's just go back to one thing you just said, that we would like to have the doors closed. What does that mean?
Because I feel like the hostility towards the fire company.
What is that? Tell us the hostility.
What?
That's what I don't understand. Explain the hostility that we have for you. Explain it to me, please.
Pretty sure telling us that we are siding with anybody. We're not siding with anyone. We were actually trying to be more of a facilitator, I felt like, and maybe be a medium so we could try to get this maybe finalized.
But
It wasn't
everything
about-
started from a conversation you guys had behind our backs.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
not
public-
true.
it's
Then
a-
who called for the meeting and who talked to Mayor O'Neill?
They've been going by the contract that had never been renewed. So
Right.
in our defense and in their defense, they just continued on that because that has an automatic increase. It's 75 cents per thousand. So
Right.
every year we're getting an increase only because of the taxable value is going up. So for us, we're just getting money from them based on an old contract. The issue comes with that old contract ended. It had some escalators up until 2012,
13, yeah.
including the village, because the village also had escalators, but it froze there because another contract wasn't signed. So the amount extra that the village got wasn't there in any of the contracts since, so they were just paying us. So when you guys, made clear to them, look, we need more money, the fire department at that point in time doesn't care in the fact that we need our money to operate as well as you need yours, but what happens to us is now we can't get paid because you get to hold our money that they're supposed to pay us until they give you what you want. So the hostility becomes that we feel like we're nothing but a pawn. We clearly understand that.
Why do
guys,
why do you think you're a pawn?
Where's our check?
Well, the check is being withheld
Where's
because
our
they're
December check that we didn't get till February?
Can we just clarify one thing? One, by state law, you guys shouldn't have been dealing with them, and you understood it, but you
That's
still
not-
went ahead.
We are allowed to be included in the contract.
That's right.
They are
No,
legally allowed to
that's-
pay us
that's
directly.
absolutely right.
So that's all we ask for. We
No,
just wanna
I
get
don't
paid
believe
directly.
they can pay you
They
directly.
can pay us directly.
Let's just focus on now and in the future. I mean,
I appreciate
You
that.
guys
Yeah,
are-
you guys are just. Here's the hostility. You're just screaming about nothing.
No, it's
That is
not. That is
hostile.
not. No, I want to
I
clear.
don't know
I
what-
want to clear this. I want to clear that part up. I don't think we are hostile to you. We ask you if you can see money, if we can see your actuals, and you say no. We're dealing with Nelsonville, who's saying they're not paying a portion, which we would like to pay to you. We're not making any money, and that's not you being a pawn. We're trying to get money proportionally, just like we're asking from the village and the town, so that we can give it back to you guys. That's not being hostile.
It
It's
feels
like-
a little hostile.
Well,
I mean, I don't know if any time. Just say what you want. Then you're not hostile. Then here we're still not obviously getting to the point. So I appreciate
you guys.
it. Yeah.
I mean, we're all on the same team here. You guys are a fire company, but you're within the fire department. It's in a village. It's a village department, just like any highway, police.
But it's not.
mean,
and I have to
it
cut
is-
you off
it is
because
not.
it's
Can I ask you a
not.
question
Because
about
we're
that?
not getting
First, can we
paid.
let
It's
John-
a
we'd like-
volunteer organization. I need you to
Your fire
understand.
company is a volunteer organization, but you work through the village fire.
It's similar,
department.
but it don't. I wouldn't use the same because again, these people don't have to be here. They could walk out. We could all just walk
I
out.
understand the fire company can work out, but you have a Cold Spring Fire Department, which is above the fire company that runs the fire company. So who are your representatives for the fire department? Right,
Well,
you have a council?
We all are.
Right.
It would be the board, yeah. It would be the chief. It would be depends if are you talking firematic, are you talking social? What do you?
Right, you should have a council. There's the village board, then there's the village fire department. And the fire department's made up of the village board and the council and wherever, it's usually
We
the chief,
went through
assistant
this
chief,
with
and
the
the
fire
warden.
yeah, we
Right,
did this,
which
and it
we
was
have never,
And then
ever
underneath the
upheld.
fire department is the fire company, which is
Correct.
all the volunteers.
correct.
So yes, you are absolutely all volunteers. You could all walk away, and then there would be basically a hollow shell of a fire department. You'd have a fire department, but you wouldn't have anybody there servicing it. So you guys, you're on the same team. So I think the mayor's just a little frustrated because it felt like, whatever was mistake or whatnot, but you certainly, through the state comptrollers, you can't negotiate directly or unilaterally with the village of Nelsonville or the town of Phillipstown. That's been resolved, and I believe
Correct.
you had officials 4 years ago with the prior village attorney as well as your own
Sure.
counsel, Bill Florence, involved in that. As far as payments, I don't think the town or the village can pay you guys directly. I think that has to flow through the village. But again, you are a department within the village, just like sanitation, highway, whatever. So I think those are two things that just need to be set, and clarified. Now, that being said, whatever happened as far as you talking to Nelson, because it was past practice, so you were just doing what you did in the past, and that's fine. But now the problem is you have another village that's giving a lot of pushback. So how do we resolve this issue is really what we're here. How could we work together to resolve this issue, for not only for the residents of Cold Spring, but Nelsonville and Phillipstown, so to ensure that they get the proper fire protection, that they should have. So I think those, let's just kind of focus on that issue, and I guess.
Right. I mean, I don't know. That's why I'm not sure even what we're talking about
Right,
now.
so you
because the
certainly
precedent was set that that's what we did, and we're following
Right.
those practices.
And
But
you
where do you want to
certainly
go
have
from
to-
that?
you certainly have
I think
to
that's what
consent.
I thought we were doing.
Right, and you certainly have to consent to any agreement between the Cold Spring and any other municipality. You have to, whether you have to actually sign it or just send a letter acknowledging it. However, it's all semantics. You certainly need to consent to whatever's being done because, it obviously impacts you. So I guess the question is moving forward. I think the mayor wants to just to make sure and clarify that, the village board would like to take the lead as far as the negotiations, but working with you guys. And I think the idea is, that's why he has this meeting. He wants to say how, I want to approach the village of Nelsonville. What can we do to kind of resolve these issues? With them taking the lead and with your assistance.
That's fine. You could have said that. I mean, that was thank you. Yeah, just screaming at them. I don't know. I mean, what's our options? I thought that's what we were meeting. For the most part, you were usually supportive that last couple months of us trying to get this. So everything I thought was a little bit smoother.
What were
and
your latest? Well,
our latest communications sometimes are a little, I guess again misunderstood. I didn't even know about this until last minute, and then I'm rushing to make sure I'm here. We gave you the numbers, right? You got the numbers. Yeah, and then I'm assuming you're going tomorrow and negotiating the numbers with the town.
Because it's my understanding, I said this to Dave, and I'm not sure where we are with this, but from what John has said and from the way I understand it, you gave us numbers. You said this is how much we want from Phillipstown, this is how much we want from Nelsonville. My thinking is, and I may be all wrong, but I think you should give us one number. This is how much money we need. Now, how much comes from Phillipstown, how much comes from Nelsonville should be our responsibility to divide up. If you need $100,000 for the year, we will then say, according to the calculations that we have based on whatever, assessed value or acreage or whatever the heck, Phillipstown owes us this, Nelsonville owes us that. That should not be your responsibility. At least that's the way I see it. Now, I could be all wrong.
No, and I'm actually not totally against that.
That goes back years.
Yeah, I don't think that's
That goes
it.
So
back
how
to
did it change?
1960.
So how did it change?
I think
When
that's
they
just how it
started,
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Everything
don't
was
think I have a
separate.
problem with it.
And that's, everyone was just doing what
Right.
was done in
You
the
want-
past, and
The
just because it was
village
done
of
in the
Nelsonville
past doesn't mean it was
is
right.
willing to do a cost per thousand, and the town won't do it for their section, which is why. So they were just agreed upon numbers, and that's just where they came from. And then when Village of Nelsonville, it started out as an original number. When it went to a cost per thousand, it made it easier because it was an automatic increase every year because the taxable value goes up every year. So the Nelsonville thing, I mean, unless we change it, we could probably just stick with what that's been. That's why it's been a contention for us because we're like, well, we're just stick with what was there, and it's not the same for you guys because your escalator ended in, I want to say 2012.
Yeah.
So since 2012, the village has been a flat, or 13's been a flat
Everyone's
number,
been-
where ours has gone up.
Flat.
So that's where the us having their back is just like, look, keep doing what you're doing, and the two villages can fight.
Is that the acting contract?
Well,
Steve,
that was the last contract.
Steve, you're Ralph.
Yes,
Um,
I am.
In looking at the numbers, and I had asked
Mhm.
Steve Etta this about 2 months ago, how did those numbers originate? The 48,000, the 35,000, whatever. And the answer is no one knows.
Nobody really knows.
Which one?
Well-
The
Town or
town,
something else?
the town started in 1960, 61.
Okay,
And it started out, I think it was $1,960.
and it's now up to 48,000.
Now it's 48,000, yeah.
Okay, so
But it
it's
stayed, under 20,000 for years.
The numbers are the 48,000 for Phillipstown and the 35,000 for Nelsonville. That does not match any assessed valuation or ratio
Correct.
to
We're
assess.
talking almost 40 years between
Correct.
just
Right.
starting both of them. I mean, they started, the town was 60, 61, and the Nelsonville was 2002, right? 2003, something like that?
2000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
approximately.
so the town would never ever make a comparison with taxable value. They just said, look, it's easier for us to agree on a number,
Okay,
and then we'll collect. And then Nelsonville, but I don't know where that number is now because that was, the 2009 was the contract we signed. I believe it's 4 years.
It's 75 cents per thousand.
Yeah.
that was the Nelsonville
That
contract.
was
Yeah.
Nelsonville.
So the numbers just really seriously came from two different places at two different times, and just we went a few years without raising it, and then we said, well, look, it's been so long, can we get a little extra? So there's really zero rhyme or reason of how we are where we're at, and to your point, it probably doesn't matter to us if we just say, hey, we need this kind of money.
Yeah, no,
But
no.
what happens is that the biggest concern for us is that when you guys have to start justifying our numbers, then you have to then there's a whole you're going to start looking at what our numbers are, why our numbers are that, and why do we need this and why do we need that. So for us, it becomes more of a, hey, it's always been, we tell you what we need, you give it to us, and we do it. And if you look at our healthy fund balance, and as you said, we're very good with our money. So for us, it feels intrusive that now all of a sudden there's a scrutiny. Now, legally, we understand it, that is what you need to ask for. We understand it, but the raw emotion from us is just it's blood money to us. We've been fighting and kicking, and we say that we have a very healthy fund balance because of the fighting and kicking and screaming we do. So for us, it's just this really, really intrusive feeling of why are you looking at our numbers? And it's not because we don't trust you, but it's because we don't trust anybody.
Well, I think
so for us,
the reason why is because they're
we
getting
completely-
pushback from
No,
from
we do
Nelson.
understand that, and we understand that. But
and
for us,
again-
the Nelsonville thing makes it hard because for us, it's like 75 cents per thousand.
Yeah, and I don't
We
know
don't-
if you were totally filled in. This was well before prior to Nelsonville saying they're not going to pay. That people wanted to see the numbers in the book. So let's not start off by saying that's why. It started well before that.
no,
You know
and
that,
we know that, and basically.
and that didn't set a good
One of the
tone
reasons
either.
is the same reason that we said when we started out at the beginning, is that you're a department of the village.
Right.
And like highway and like water and
I
sewer,
mean,
like
everybody
everybody else.
has
We are.
And
We are.
also,
Sure.
budget
the
put
money-
We
together.
manage
What
our
you
own
want.
money, which
Yeah,
is
I don't
not
know.
like any
Your
department
health
of the village.
your
That's
health-
that's
but-
where the
but-
problem.
but we're
In
just-
this case,
let me
if
just-
we are-
Let me just-
if we are a department of the village, then what's the village's responsibility towards us?
what we're doing.
No, there's
how about our
physicals, there's
insurance? How about
insurance.
the
Yeah, I
equipment?
mean, you're not running
No.
everything
Well,
that we
no,
run,
but-
and then
I mean, you have a budget and.
is that legally too? They're
Yeah,
supposed to be
but-
running
yeah, but
everything
you-
as
yeah,
well, and
you-
have
if
these.
you
That's
run
why
our
the
department-
Well,
department
if we run your
contracts through
department,
the
then we
fire
don't need to
company.
give you any money.
No, that's right.
Yes,
But it's
and
gonna be a
trust-
lot more than what you're doing now.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
got-
No, we don't
They
want
don't
to
You
do
wanna
that.
do that?
We don't
No.
want to do it. But what I said and what I've said before is,
But it seems like
the
every time.
the taxpayers of Nelsonville, Phillipstown, and Cold Spring are giving you this money that you're talking about, this healthy balance.
Sure.
And the same reason why we have to report to the taxpayers is
Sure.
that you should give the taxpayers, we don't need a nickel and dime it. Broad figures, it doesn't have to be every.
But that's what we thought. That's I believe what we've given with the budget before. Is that
Yeah,
accurate?
but you're
Right?
giving
I
us a
mean,
budget, not an actual.
Do you have the controller's office?
Change.
Do you have to submit any documentation, like
Well, you know-
for fire district, if you were, say, outside?
Yeah,
of-
because we're not really,
But
because if
you-
anybody, they would come after them. But we do our our federal taxation.
That's the whole point, though.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
do
if
the-
there's an issue, that they have a fiduciary duty
Absolutely.
to kind
Absolutely.
of protect
But you gotta realize,
themselves.
they can't do our job.
Can we agree on one thing? Can we agree to let each other
finish their thoughts? Because I can't follow the conversation when we're talking over each other. Okay, can we agree on that?
Yeah.
That's one thing
That-
we'll agree
that-
on at least.
So from my point of view and from the board's point of view, and you've been here, Ralph,
Yes,
so
sir.
it should be from your point of view too, that we're asking taxpayers for money to finance the fire department. Is that true? I mean, the money we're getting from taxpayers
Yes.
is going to you. Your fund balance, I mean, you guys do some bringing in money on your own, but most of the money that builds up your fund balance is from excess every year. Is that true?
I don't think it's called excess. It's,
Oh, well,
Yes.
it's
yes,
the side of
yes.
it's a saving. Yeah.
Yes, we've taken money that
Right.
we've, so for instance, when you say excess,
not
we
excess,
have,
it's
it's
savings,
a
budgeted.
fund balance, like
fund
the truck
balance.
fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we asked for extra to build a truck fund.
Right.
But it's
Yeah.
not extra. It's
It's not extra. We
budgeted in as
purposely-
a truck.
Right,
It's a
right.
line item as
So-
a budgeted thing. It's not excess.
Well,
it's not more. It's
All municipalities, school districts, right? You guys have to do the same
Yeah.
thing. You have to serve a certain percentage.
Yes.
but that
save a
percentage
certain
is not
percentage.
even being saved. Again, the understand it's tough to explain because you don't understand it. That truck is going to be $1 million. That money is leaving, and that's a stretch. Let's say 700,000. So that drops it down to 200,000. It's going to take us again that 20 years of putting away that 30,000 to accumulate that money when we have to replace the truck. It's not excess. It's budgeted. It's not a reserve. It's not like they're going to go in and we're going to write checks out of it. They can't touch the money. There's no way they're going to get to that 900,000 or whatever's in there. They're not touching it because it's for the fire truck.
And we understand that. It's really-
That's where it's.
For you to
What's
say
the
we
sto-
don't
what's the
understand, of
stopping
course we understand it. You have a truck fund. It's
But it's
obvious.
again, I think it's a terminology that gets us so like.
It's not
the-
a slush fund.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
we
not a
didn't say,
slush
we
fund.
didn't say slush fund.
Not, yeah, well, not again.
But what we're saying
Not
is
again.
that money that you're saying you're kicking and screaming for is coming from taxpayers' money. And so what we would like to, when we ask you to see your actuals, I think it's realistic. I think it's our responsibility to the taxpayer. This is your
To-
money.
To say what?
We're
To
asking.
say what? We've seen their numbers, and we
Yeah.
don't like them. We like them.
No, for you to present in an open forum the way we present in an open forum so taxpayers can see it if they want to.
So do
Our
you
budget
get a
is
lot of
open to the-
pushback about
to
the
the-
fire
to
company
the
budget
taxpayers
or
complain
not?
about
Yeah,
us?
that's what I don't know. Again, yeah.
Well, everybody
Do you
else,
find-
everyone else is, and everyone that we're overseeing, monies that we're collecting for. They give us budgets. They like Greg Phillips doesn't balk. I mean,
Another
highway
employee, he's an
doesn't.
employee. He goes back to being a worker
that's
again.
not-
But
$95
the
grand,
money
you won't
the
balk
money's
either.
coming from taxpayers, and we have a responsibility to taxpayers to say yes, we've looked at books. Yes, this is real. Yes, this is what it costs.
Okay.
Other fire companies and other places have gotten into trouble because there isn't oversight.
I think Dan has.
Dan.
Up until a few years ago, we believed that we were one of the 700 independent fire companies in the state of New York. And until NICOM and the comptroller got involved, we didn't realize that. And up until that point, the fire department purchased all its own equipment, saved money for trucks, never excess burden to the taxpayer. And it all kept in that $1,900 for the town tax. Everything went kind of slowly uphill instead of these huge spikes because we need 40,000 unfunded mandate for turnout gear. We were able to handle that from the way that we're so fiscally responsible. We do have a healthy fund balance. The communications with the village board has been strained over the past several years. I'm not saying just now, but we've been complaining about the floor collapsing in the back, that they've done tests and said, yeah, the floor's collapsing, and the village hasn't done anything. The roof's leaking, which we're slowly getting there. The air conditioning's breaking. Then suddenly, we want to look at all your numbers because we're saying, hey, the roof needs to be fixed, or the air conditioner broke. Well, let's see your numbers. And everything's getting scrutinized. And then the next thing that happens is a check that comes to us every year from Nelsonville to protect their residents gets held up in red tape at the village office suddenly. And it's like, now what?
It's not,
Why?
first of all, it wasn't red tape.
I'm
It was-
just using it as from our point of view.
Metaphoric.
We have meetings the last Thursday of every month where a liaison that changes every year comes in and we talk about, we're making some progress, the parking, the building, and we don't seem to ever get anywhere, and we have all the same conversations, and it's just more and more seems to be coming after the fire department, and we're not seeing a lot of positive stuff on the back end.
Right, benefits.
And I get the whole department of the village thing. that makes total sense to me. One figure, this is our proposed budget for the year, like everybody else. But to understand, if we ask for 200,000 for operating expenses, this is why. And when Nelsonville says, we're not contracting with you, we still need that $200,000. And it's gonna fall back on the Village of Cold Spring and the town of Phillipstown, because this stuff's expensive. You know, we have to
See-
buy new equipment every
We
couple
can't
of
get
years.
the 34,000 out
But
of
you
them.
just,
So-
you just said something very important. You said when we ask for 200,000, we'll tell you this is why. That's what we're asking for.
Yeah,
We wanna
I don't
know that
think
this
so.
is why.
But our fear is that you can tell us, well, you can't have that.
Well, you know, I mean,
You're right, you can tell us that now, I get that, but.
But everything that you've ever brought up is stuff that's needed or that's required by state law, and so we're not familiar with that. So that's another reason why we'd like to see actuals. If it's down there and you're saying this costs this, you know, I don't see why that's being intrusive. We're not trying to
For
control you.
123 years.
I know that, and
nobody
that's
has
what,
asked.
that's what we've heard. Nobody's ever asked us. to
It's
say-
a little intrusive, and just because we've been doing it for
You know,
120
yeah.
years doesn't mean we've been doing it correct.
And just
But-
to, just to adjust one thing that Dan said, I know you said that, you know, you talked about the floor, and you talked about the roof, and you talked about the air conditioning, and suddenly we asked for numbers. Well, Marie and I asked for numbers way before we started talking about roof and air conditioning.
This
We-
has been going on.
Well,
since
yeah, but I
Anthony
mean,
Phillips was mayor.
the looking at numbers that we asked for a while back, it really had nothing to do with that. It had to do with we were trying to look at the contracts between us and Nelsonville, us and Phillipstown, try to make some sense out of it.
I can appreciate that, but it's the perception. And I'm not speaking
And-
for the,
and-
on
yeah,
behalf of
and
the
you also
entire
have to
company, just
understand.
some of us.
That some of us, like, just put me, I'm new at this. So for me to ask for numbers is because I have no clue when I walked into this job what I was doing. I have a little bit more of a clue now, not much, but you know.
And that's part of, I think, our issue that we talked about last time, is
Well, yeah.
we've done this with different people.
Right, and
No
I
offense. These guys have been-
sympathize with you guys.
They've been here a long time. I'll probably, unfortunately, going to be sitting here much longer than you will be. And there will be another group of people, and I'll be explaining the exact same thing, and same can just kicking down the street. We need your numbers now. Here I go again. So there are some things I think we can change and definitely work on. But overall, we've, like you've said, we've fought this battle so many times with it's just a different group of people. It's
So,
Like I
so your
said,
answer
it's-
is not to give the whatever group the
No, I just-
actuals, and then we'll keep kicking. You call that kicking down the road.
Yeah.
And then you'll wait until another board comes in. You'll say the same thing to them when they ask for your numbers, and you guys will feel frustrated and like that we're attacking you. And
most
that's-
board. I
How can we
don't gotta
stop
be
this
honest with
cycle
you.
then?
Yeah,
How
that's
can we
right.
stop this
'Cause
cycle?
I've-
Because
this is
our
separate.
election cycles, I mean, that's set. We can't really do anything about that. I might be here next
Right.
year, I might not be. But, you know, and that's the same for all the rest of us. So we know that that's the case. But let's get to the point where we can get you, you know, where we can understand what it is you need. And we can get you what you need.
Okay, right now we
Okay,
need
that's the goal.
34,000 for
Right.
operating
But I
costs.
do-
That's what I
well,
need.
Speaking of that, you know, if we go down which we should, go down the road where we tell you we need this, you know, and you understand why we need it from both Nelsonville and town. And then they have the problem because you'll be our presenters now at you know, when we go to the town, you know, we're supposed to have a public hearing tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
And just, you know, to explain or answer questions about our numbers. So then that'll be your role, which is legally supposed to be anyway, negotiating contracts. And they say, well, that's unacceptable. You know, it's just, how, you know, will you guys be responsible then for giving us that money we needed, even though you can't get it from the town of Nelsonville? So, you know, those are the kind of issues that we run with. Like right now, you know, look, you know, we're out $17,000 because that portion of Nelsonville didn't come in. You know, so that's, you know, that's
Why
our-
would they say that to us and not to you?
Well, because like right now they're willing to give us a check and not you because they're okay with our portion. They don't like your administrative part of, you know, asking for LoSAP and workers' comp.
Who is Nelson?
Nelsonville, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's their excuse. So we're out $17,000 that we budgeted because we thought, hoping it was going to be resolved. So, you know, further going down the road, if we say, look, you're right, you know, we need, you know, this is what we need. Can you please go get it for us? And then they're not willing to pay you. You know, what are our, you know, how do we get that money? I guess, you know, without, you know, does it fall back on the village taxpayers?
But they're
to
not.
make
But
up-
they're not willing to give you the money. They're willing to give you what they want to give you. They're actually dictating to us what they want to give you. They
Right.
they want to give you X amount They want to write a contract for us to sign for our own department. Does that seem strange to anyone but me?
But the way they're breaking it down is that the portion that normally goes to us is the same.
Automatic.
So we're okay with what you're asking for. We're just not okay with what the village is asking for. So we're not going to give them that money.
But you're working your department. That's whether you're volunteers or not, and it costs us X amount of dollars to keep you guys up and running, right? And for workers' comp, you have to have that. We're paying for that. So the thing is, goes back to that. It's like that's part of what they should be paying for. If they want service, they're asking you guys to do it. They're not just asking.
Right.
You guys have to go into Nelsonville and you have to have workers' comp.
Right. And to counter your argument, you have no choice but to pay workers' comp from us, no matter what.
Right.
Whether we contract with Nelsonville
Yeah.
or the town.
Exactly.
So there's 48 plus, how much was it total? Nelsonville and Phillipstown together?
34, I think.
What
Together.
you're proposing now?
Yep.
Minus workman's comp?
Whatever, last year if you want.
Oh, I don't have last year.
So it's 60 plus 65.
Actually, it's
70.
So there's,
$83,800.
but what we asked for is 60 and change.
No,
No.
you're asking
Oh, we're asking for
for
80?
$48,700 from
So
Phillipstown.
point being is now, the fight about workers'
$45,000
comp is a
from
valid fight
Nelsonville.
for you. But what happens is there's $68,000 that the fire department gets to work with from them, that if you don't resolve issues and we don't have a contract with them, we are out $68,000 a year. So the kind of, the issue with us not having those two contracts is how do we operate without less that $60,000 because we all can't, or because municipalities now can't come to an agreement. So that is our we don't, look, to be quite honest with you, at the end of the day, we don't care what you ask for from the other municipalities.
Right.
It's okay with us. I understand because unfortunately we've gone down this road, with Anthony was so forth. So we do understand. The problem that we have is that we need to be made whole no matter what the municipalities are doing.
And we need to be made whole as a municipality.
Right,
And if we don't, then we're going to pass on that amount of money that Nelsonville, their fair share, should be paying to our taxpayers.
Which is by the way, what we did last year. Nelsonville refused to pay low
Understood.
SAP workman's comp last year.
Remember.
And the village of
Understood.
Cold Springs taxpayers paid it.
Remember this. The Village of Cold Spring taxpayers are legally responsible for LoSAP and workers' comp every year, no matter where else we contract. No matter what.
Right.
So in the other two municipalities' defense, and I don't want to defend them, it's not their problem that you have to pay workers' comp and LoSAP. You have to forever, legally, no matter what.
We have to do that, but they are asking the Village of Cold Spring for fire protection. We are saying this is what it costs us to operate, you guys to operate. We're not adding anything to that. There's nothing in this for us. We're collecting the money from you.
Yes.
It costs you, say it's $100,000. We're asking you a portion of that
Correct.
to make us whole, the village whole, because we feel it's fair. We are also not asking Phillipstown or Nelsonville to do anything as far as heating goes
Correct.
or gas goes,
Electricity.
or they're not going to be chipping in for the $115,000 roof or anything else that happens.
Honestly, most other fire protection agreements, I've actually never seen a separate low SAP workers'
Right.
comp payment. It's usually just rolled in to the one
Right,
payment.
and the problem we had is when Anthony Phillips started this, he didn't say administrative costs. He went right after them and said, we want you to pay for LoSAP and workers' comp, which started, as foolish as it sounds, started the whole dilemma because the first thing Nelsonville said is, we didn't get to vote for LoSAP, we shouldn't have to pay for LoSAP.
And
So it
what's
should
their
have just
argument
been,
for workman's
It
comp?
it should have been considered administration fees from the very beginning, and then the village
Or it just
got to put it to where it needed to go.
It just should be fire protection, so.
It
if
should
you-
Fire
just be
protection
rolled
agreement.
into
So
one
if you-
payment.
if you say to us
right,
you need
unfortunately, that
100,000.
can that opened, can't close,
Well,
and
we
cannot
Seth
read-
couldn't
we
close
may-
it,
What
Anthony
is
couldn't
the
close
what
it.
is the amount that you need for 2018? Your email, Matt, identifies Phillipstown and Nelsonville. It doesn't say anything about the village.
I wasn't
What's-
asked for the village. If you
Pardon
got the
me?
email, I wasn't asked for the village. I
Okay.
gave you what I was asked for.
What's-
So the village aid was 1%. So what's 1% of? What are you giving us now? 32,000 or what? What is?
$33,875.
Is that for the with the 1%?
That's not what the 1%.
Okay, because that was what it current was, and it was another 1% increase across the three.
All three were
Yeah,
asking for
because
1% increase.
I got to be honest with you. We've been here about 40 minutes. Not to, I just feel like this conversation a lot of times you should have been having with Nelsonville too. I mean, you're screaming about the low. Again, we can't help.
First of all,
this.
we're not
We're
screaming.
not, okay.
About,
I mean,
just
we need to,
projecting.
we need to
But-
get it straight with you guys before
Yeah.
we go to Nelsonville.
Oh, okay, because I'm not
Because
sure
this is-
why.
Because it's
Again,
procedures.
what yeah. I mean,
And-
So are you guys
you
willing
please.
to supply the whatever numbers that they're asking for so they can review them? Or is that something, do we have to go to the controller's office? I mean, can you guys supply that information to the
That's
village?
public. It's public anyway. So
Right.
What's
I don't-
public?
It's the numbers will be public anyway because we.
The numbers. that
Your
you're-
budget.
Yeah.
budget is
Budget,
yeah.
we-
We
budget we
always
have.
give
We
the
have the
budget.
budget.
Yeah, they
budget
have
is
it.
changed.
Actuals.
We
It's
need
the
the
actuals
Yeah.
that.
So are you
Budget
gonna
hasn't
be able to
changed in years.
supply what they're looking for?
Able, of course, we're able to.
Yeah, I would have to go back to the board and ask them if they're going to be able to supply those. I mean,
Sorry,
up to
it's
you
not a
guys.
question of being able, it's a question of
Sure.
executing.
Well,
You're able to do it, whether or not you choose to do it is different.
Doesn't
Man,
It's
if
a
we're
choice.
able
could
to, I
care
could give
less.
it. Yeah, I could go back and ask the
Matter to
board.
me.
And if
I got nothing to hide.
Let me ask you.
Okay, and
Ralph,
then
you
but
said
that's-
something-
yeah,
so that
okay, and then
resolves,
if
I
we
think,
do or
the one
don't,
issue.
it's I don't understand again.
Well, I mean, if
What
you
the
don't,
point
I-
is
I think
for-
we'd have to go to the controller's office because I don't see how the village board
We've been there before.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, and the,
Yeah, I know.
the village board, if they're approving a budget, they have a duty to find out what the numbers are. I mean, I don't, you're kind of letting them trust us. That's fine. It's not that they don't trust you, but they have to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine, usually every fire district outside of a village has oversight through the controller's office, correct? They all have to file with the controller's office, so I
The
don't.
district's duty. Right.
So
Yeah,
there's gotta be
our
some
file-
checks and balances and
Absolutely.
oversight,
Got
because
it.
you read about this stuff all
It's
the
the
time.
village
On the other
board.
side of the river, there was a guy up in Ulster that was taking money
Sure.
from the fire, it's just a matter of a fiduciary duty. I don't think it's really asking too much. And I think it'll help them in the long run to explain and negotiate with the Nelsonville and Phillipstown. So I think if we can get past that, and then they can get you what you need. I think it's like help me help you kind of thing.
I hear what you're saying.
If they can get that information, they can present it to Phillipstown and Nelsonville better.
But Phillips on Nelsonville don't. I mean, I guess Nelsonville, but I mean, same thing though. The other
But they,
municipalities
yeah,
don't
but if
really.
something goes
they
wrong,
don't
God,
need to. Yeah.
if God forbid something does
I
end
agree
up
with you.
going wrong, if there is, who is the controller's office? Who is the DA's office? Who's the attorney general's office? They're not going to look to Nelsonville or Phillipstown. They're going to look to these folks up
Right.
here, and they're going to look to
Because,
you
like I said,
guys.
we've done the comptroller thing. I've had those conversations.
Well, just want to ask a question. You said before, or you started to say something about what if we go to Phillipstown and say we need, say, $48,000?
Sure.
And what if you do that and Phillipstown says, hey, no, we can only give you $42,000 this year? What do you guys do? If you have your numbers all set.
If they
you
don't
tell
give us the money
Phillipstown-
that we're asking for,
And you tell Phillipstown you need this, Nelsonville you need this, Cold Spring you need this,
Same thing we do with you in
Have a
Nelson, that we're not
discussion
getting that
with
money.
so then you have to adjust your budget accordingly.
possibly, yeah. I guess that would be. I mean, it's one of those things. What if? But they haven't yet,
They
and then
haven't
we
yet, I
haven't
understand
also
that. I'm
questioned
not-
it,
I'm
and I
not-
guess we
And
could.
I'm not
Yeah.
picking
But
on
it's
Phillipstown.
Sure, no, right.
like, when we go
Well,
through our
they're
budget,
paying $700,000
we
to
have a-
other companies, they're not gonna question the 48,000.
Well, that,
Well,
that ain't,
We
no,
have-
that
No,
ain't.
but it's a
when we-
valid point. Thank you.
When we do our budget, we have a state tax mandated cap. We cannot exceed that. And that's based upon assessed valuation. However, there are certain properties where the assessed valuation cannot be factored in. Okay, and the assessed valuation is as of what's on the books as of May. The rules may not permit, in some cases, some of the increased assessed valuations to be factored into our base.
Yep.
So we have to live within a state mandated cap. When that cap is lower, I can guarantee you, for example, that healthcare costs are going to increase, and they're going to continue to increase. So the village's costs for healthcare are going to continue to rise. We are obligated to provide our employees with healthcare. So that money for the increases
Oh,
in
you're
healthcare.
not giving us health care though.
No, no.
Yeah, I'm confused. So what do you? I don't.
making a
Oh,
Just
okay.
making a point.
I'm like, hey, you guys got health care.
You're done? Okay.
No, I'm just confused because we know the cap. We're well below the cap. We're
Yeah,
familiar with the
and-
cap. I don't know. Again,
But
how we
Well,
want to move
have
forward.
We have to manage,
So you,
staying underneath that cap, we have to manage a bunch of other stuff.
by not paying the fire company.
No, that's,
That
No,
may
that's
be,
not-
it may come to the fact that we have to shave some money off of the fire company, the way we have to shave
And there it
money
is.
off of some.
There it is, finally. Yeah, look at that, she's gonna cut the budget. Yeah, we were waiting for it.
Nobody said we're
I
cutting
owe
the
you money,
budget.
I owe you, yeah.
You know, Matt, you have an attitude that just stops negotiation. You have an attitude that's
I'm
just
sorry.
we're against you, and it's not that. I've never said, and I won't ask to shave you unless it's totally necessary. And there's no other way we can function as a village.
And I said you've been more than supportive. I never said
I
that
never
you
expected
thought
to get a
said
standing
that.
ovation by saying that we.
I actually
we may
didn't think
have
I
to
told
shave-
you, David. And
Yes, apparently
working
there
great
was
with
a
us,
bet
actually.
whether or not we would ever
Appreciate it.
say that. Isn't that interesting? What was the
I
what was the
would like-
television show with
I'm not aware of that.
the magic
Could you
word?
explain that, please? I'm not aware.
Oh, no, the
The
way the
magic
communication went back and forth, it
Where-
looked
where
like
was there a
somebody
wager?
owed you money. Matt said you owe me. So we got that one, so somebody owes him.
Yeah.
So there was a
wager
bet,
going
Matt, I can
on
tell by the
in
look
that-
on your
What
face.
we were just, what we're asking, and you feel it's intrusive, we feel it's a responsibility, and is if we could have your actuals. If we have that, then we move forward and know what the budget's for. And I think I've sat down with you guys, and I don't know about what you guys have to do, and it's been enlightening, but I don't think anyone else knows that. And I think going forward, if you have something set up where a board gets your actuals every year, when you come and sit here and negotiate for what you need, that it makes it so much easier, and it's not intrusive at all. It's like you're saving money, and you're saving it for what? You're saving it for a truck, which is going to cost $1 million or $700,000 or whatever. So maybe is that the best way to do it or not? I don't know. I'm not a financial advisor or whiz. But the thing is, we have those numbers or the turnout gear that you guys need to replace, and this is X, and this is what it costs. If you're asking for 2% or 1%, which is nothing by any means, but it's like, okay, that's for this. And then it's like way more defensible and easier to just explain. And then we can go to Nelsonville and we can go to Phillipstown, and this is what it costs for us to run the department. We're asking you for a fair share of it. And I don't know, do you think we're asking them too much? We're asking less than we're charging our people. We're not charging them for maintenance or any of these other things. And we're asking for a portion of workers' comp and LoSAP, which makes you guys whole.
again, we agree with you. So
I
I don't
know,
know what I don't. Yeah, that's
so-
what I'm keep wondering what we're doing. I totally agree with you. You're 100%.
Well,
we can give you the
what
number
we're
if
doing
you
here
want,
is
yeah.
because you're
Totally agree with
balking
you.
and want the money, and we're not going to give them the money because they're saying this is half. We're not giving you this. They're dictating
And
to us.
that's the other thing we were trying to work on. That's what I'm saying. Like I've been trying to work. Actually, I think I've been more than accommodating for somebody that's been coming down here nonstop. You get the liaison at our place twice a year, and I've been coming more than I think anybody else ever has down here to try to get things straightened out and emailed. So, in my defense, personally, I've been more than accommodating because again, we're volunteers. So I know I'm an employee, but
So
I also have another job as a
right
someone else.
now, the methodology that we use to allocate the LoSAP and workers' comp is based upon assessed valuation. We get the numbers from the the county at the beginning of the fiscal year. And as you know, we can tell what tax district, if you'll allow me to call it a tax district, we can tell from the county records which properties are in the village of Nelsonville, which properties are in the village of Cold Spring, and which properties are in the town of Phillipstown that are covered by the Cold Spring Fire Company. You know that I have been trying to get you more money relative, I know Steve Edis says no, don't do
It
that.
doesn't.
Been trying to
work out
get
like
you
that.
more money.
Contract, 48,000.
We don't get any more money. We've been doing this for 2 years, saying this.
The
You don't
town will get that
understand
money,
it.
but if they give it to
Yeah,
us,
we've been
The
doing
town
this
gets the money
nonstop.
Let her
and it
finish, let her
goes
finish.
to North Highlands, but you are the guys that cover those areas.
Right.
I've asked you to work with me to try to work with North Highlands to get that property reassessed or reallocated to the village of Cold Spring Fire Protection District, and the answer is no. So we're walking away from that potential money.
Okay, so my question is though, is if you get it moved out of North Highland and get the $10,000 taken away from them and given back to the town, we're gonna protect it for still the 48,000 we're doing, because it's a set number. We're not per thousand like North Highlands is.
But-
So we're not gonna
Okay.
get
We
that.
tried this.
Okay.
But
2 years
we-
to explain
Low
this.
SAP.
So
and
if we
workman's
help you
comp.
get the money back,
Right.
you'll help us.
The workman's comp
Fight-
and.
fight and
the
get
low-
that money back.
The workman's
How do-
comp and
how do
low
you
SAP
We have to
allocation.
sign papers.
That's
The
it?
workman's
it.
comp and low
Mhm.
Give me
SAP
the paper.
compensation from the town will go up. Sorry, the ratio will go up. So we'll have more money
Okay.
coming in there. So
Then,
that's
if it's okay, we'll help you do that.
excellent, that would be great.
Is that okay?
So
Yeah.
assessed valuation is one way in which we can allocate costs. A second way in which costs were allocated probably 10 years ago was based upon location of call.
Yeah.
Now, assessed valuation is repeatable. It doesn't change very much from year to year to year. Certainly the town line, the village lines don't move. What does change is the improvements on property. The location of call is not a repeatable statistic
Or predictable.
or predictable.
But no one's
Yes.
suggesting we do that or go
Well,
back there.
actually, that had been suggested by,
Not by this board.
that was the methodology
No, no.
10-plus years ago. And it was suggested most recently when we did have a conversation with Nelsonville. So those are two methodologies. Is there any other methodology you can think of?
Yes.
Dan?
The Village of Cold Spring taxpayer has a separate line item on the tax bill for the service award program. They're the only ones that voted for it, they're the ones responsible for it. Don't pass the low SAP onto the other municipalities, keep it in the village, and pass the fire protection expenses off to the other villages.
I'm-
It's just semantics.
I'm
Sure.
sorry,
There's a separate line
Yeah.
item on the tax
And
bill
I-
just for the service
have it go
award.
back to the one
Only
number.
the village taxpayers see that and pay
Correct.
that,
correct.
right? That number is not based upon shared expenses by the other municipalities, right? That represents the whole figure of the service award.
No, no.
Let the village taxpayers pay the service award like they voted upon and pass the other expenses on
And
to.
then up the percentage.
Heat,
up-
heat,
Up the
electricity,
rate of the
maintenance of
others.
building. Right.
I don't,
That's what I thought.
I don't know that we can do, legally, we can
Well,
do that.
legally, I don't think you can pass the service award on, but you can pass anything else you want on. Workman's comp, keep in-house, just whatever the number is,
So-
increase.
The roof.
You could just put it
Yeah.
all in one number.
Right,
yes.
that's
That's
right.
what
And
we
again,
were-
that goes back to,
I-
as foolish
I-
as it sounds, goes back to administrative costs.
I'm sorry.
And then you disperse it in the way that you feel is best.
Terminology.
I thought that we couldn't, I thought the only thing that we could put on that line, on the tax bill, was the
For
No,
Cold
what
Springs
what Danny's
residents,
saying was
for
we
Nelsonville.
keep Cold Spring going the way it is, but Nelsonville, we say this is what it costs. LoSAP's not included. But the
you-
number's the same or the
It's
number's right.
semantics,
It's
right?
semantics,
You're
but
not telling
it
me
might
it's
go
for
a
the
long
service
way.
award.
Yeah, it was
So we pass-
basically a
Because
term.
we
It's
begged
electric,
them,
it's
them
heat,
to do that
it's-
from the
it's
beginning, and they
the roof,
didn't.
It's the roof.
Well,
It's
like I
just-
said,
That's-
most fire protection agreements only
Which-
have one payment.
Yes.
They don't have.
It's not broken
I
up.
looked at a bunch of them. They don't separate low SAPs and then whatever other payments. It's just
Right.
one payment, and it's assumed that the low SAP and workers' comp
Comes out of
is
that.
included in that
Right.
payment. So perhaps
That was-
the idea is to just forget the low SAP and just increase.
Right. Fire
That
protection.
was-
Fire
Yeah.
End of
protection.
story.
Three
Yes.
months ago or whatever it was, Dave, when you came to the meeting with Steve, you know, that was up until then, that was our argument. We kept trying to figure out because we said, the village is paying 100% of the low SAP. How is this number continue, whatever? And that's when you told us
It's not.
they're not. They're only paying 60% because they reduced it or whoever reduced it down and 20 and 20 is going the other way. Well, why do that? Leave it at the 100, let the village, and tack the administrative fees and maintenance of the building fees
Make up the
onto
difference.
it and let them,
Yeah.
you know, take care of it from there.
As you say, it's just, this is what it costs for fire protection for you. End of story.
So I'm sorry, help me again, because I'm not quite getting it. I thought what you said was put on the village's taxpayers a number which reflects 100% of LoSAP,
Because that's what they've approved.
100% of workman's comp.
No, no,
And-
No, no.
Just
Oh, I'm
LoSAP.
sorry, that's what I,
Just a low step that the village taxpayers agreed to pay originally, and that's what everybody thought, that number on that bill all these years, up until just recently, everybody thought that was what the 100% village taxpayers were paying, but now we're told it's only 60% on that bill, on the backs of the village taxpayer.
Right, because the others are,
Correct, but that's where they're
Nelsonville
having a
and
fit about.
Phillipstown.
This is
So
the,
this
this is the argument
where it got
that
started.
This is
we're being
semantics.
double taxed, so to speak.
That they
so,
think.
so again, I'm trying to understand. You're suggesting, if I understand you correctly, that the village tax bill would be 100% of LoSAP, 100% of workman's comp.
You don't care,
No.
just low
We don't
SAP, we
care
all
about that,
ask.
just
Just
the
low
low SAP,
Just low
Why?
SAP.
because that's what they
Because they,
voted on.
right,
They're the
because
only ones that
it
can
was a
read.
village referendum to pass low
remember
SAP.
that, right.
So this way, the village, just the village people voted for it, so stuck with it, I guess you could say. So they'll pay for that, and then fire protection contract agreement is the rest, and then you guys say, you know, and that's gonna go towards workers' comp, because that's more than fair, because we're going up there and we could get hurt. So that's workers' comp, heat, electric, you know, the things that you are, the things that you have
The
to
roof.
pay us for the building. So let them pay for all that other stuff that they would be required to anyway. And then that gets that stigma of that they're paying the low SAP. So fine, you're not paying for low SAP anymore. Just the village taxpayers.
Because it
But you
was the
have to
word
pay
low
for the
SAP that I
rest.
think.
Paying
Okay,
percentage of
You
administrative.
threw
sorry.
out a couple of other elements.
sorry.
And I'm just trying to understand what would be on the tax bill.
Everything.
It-
On our tax bill,
Since
just
nine-
low SAP.
Just
Since
low SAP.
1995, you have your general village tax, and then there was a line for how much you owe for the service award program. And this is what some of the arguments have been. So since 95, the village residents have paid 100% of the LoSAP bill. You're telling us now, right now, since the administrative fees have started to go out to the other municipalities in the last few years, that bill that the village taxpayer gets is prorated based on contributions from the other municipalities. That's what you're telling us?
That is
That's what we,
Tax
yeah,
bill.
that's
For-
what it.
for low SAP.
We don't know that.
You
We know
didn't
is
know
that
that.
we've been
Nobody was ever-
paying the service award tax since it started in 1995.
Okay.
This all-
We've always thought we've been paying 100%, and the village has been asking for money to offset that, which doesn't really jive.
Okay.
You're saying you prorate it. What I'm suggesting, not the company, that the village go back to the way that it was, make the LoSAP 100% on the village taxpayer, as it was voted upon.
Okay.
In turn, it's not going to change the tax money that the village taxpayer is paying, because we are going to submit the
An
rest of the
increase.
fire service bills that you currently pay, the maintenance, electric, we're gonna put that onto the other municipalities. So that it's just a matter of saying where the money's coming from, but it's the same figure, it's just
It's
the way
again
that it's
semantics,
explained.
but sometimes that's what it takes.
It's the same figure, or we could even ask for more. This is
Well-
what it
Oh,
shows.
Yeah.
oh,
Correct, if you
oh,
supply
So you
one
know-
number and
you
then
know
there it
what-
is.
You know how much money we're proposing for our firematic budget, you have that right now. You have the
That's-
33,000 from the village, the whatever
35,000,
Nelsonville,
48,000,
and
35,000.
the town of
right.
Phillipstown.
Right.
That is our proposed budget, basically to you, of how much we need to operate this year. On top of that, you have figures yourself for workman's comp, for heat, electric, whatever other fees that are associated with the building. That gives you the total fire department operating expense. Now, you wanna ask the town for this chunk, and Nelsonville for this chunk, and the rest goes back to the village. I think that's basically the way any kind of budget would work.
Right, and we might get some nice things done to the building too, because there might be more money, yeah, but again, it goes back to what number we could do and things
Well,
like
that's another
that.
thing too, is like, can there be, since we have money that comes in from two separate contracts, and it's not technically tax money, because it's separate contracts, is there money that could be like, is there a Cold Spring Fire Company account, like water sewer account type of thing, where, so that way, you know, if there's money there, okay, hey, you know what, they can paint the outside of the building, do whatever, or not,
No, unless you're a fire district,
okay?
Right,
which you're not.
correct.
But
It's
can't
just
put
general
department.
It
municipal.
just passes through the.
Right, the general fund.
Okay.
So,
One thing, John, though, if we do something, this is almost like, to get around prevailing wage, and we have them pay for that, and then we give them a check exactly for that. Now, if we say LoSAP's not gonna be included, and we increase the same exact amount of money or close to it, to make up for that, isn't that kind of obvious, and couldn't that be called into question legally? I mean, I'm all for it, whatever.
Legally,
think
I don't know, but like I said, most fire protection agreements just have one payment.
Yeah.
I've never seen low
Right,
SAP
and we
separate.
begged them to start that way, and they did
But
it.
then we just changed the tax, and the
Right.
LoSAP number would stay the same on our bill anyway, or it would be raised.
It would be raised, but
But
then
offset
it would
by-
come down because you're gonna ask more.
Right.
For the Cold Spring residents, it would come down because you're gonna
Right.
ask more from
Right.
Nelsonville and Phillipstown will go directly to
Right.
the maintenance stuff.
Okay.
And in the perfect world, the village could write us a check for the fire service budget that we proposed, and we wouldn't have to wait for 5 or 6 checks throughout the year to pay for the stuff. We would just get the money from you, and if your negotiations fail with Nelsonville, that's not our problem. You guys agreed to the budget, and we still get that money to operate. Does that make
Sorry,
sense?
if Nelson, I didn't, I have a terrible hearing problem, Dan. If Nelsonville, if we do this, and Nelsonville's money reflects some amount that goes to the fire company, plus some amount that comes to the village of Cold Spring for heating oil and workman's comp and whatnot, and if Nelsonville balks at paying that amount, what was your conclusion would happen?
We still need that money to operate. And this is the benefit of us having contracts with Nelsonville and the town. If we didn't have those contracts, we would still need the same exact budget amount because the stuff costs money to operate.
Right.
And because we have those contracts, it offsets the amount of money it costs the village of Cold Spring as taxpayers to have their fire department.
Except that Nelsonville, the impasse that we're at now.
There's not a contract.
Nelsonville refuses to sign the contract.
Sure.
Right? And it has been a contract in their hands since 2000, I think we sent it to them in February of 2016. So for the past year and a half, they have refused to sign the contract. And the only monies that they have provided to us were the monies that covered the,
Firematic.
yes,
Yeah.
that was it. So,
So now, if we do it the way that I'm mentioning, we would just submit or negotiate a contract for fire protection in the amount of this. And that money goes to the village. You use the money to pay for whatever needs to be paid for, and the money that we've asked for, the proposed operational expenses, the village would pay us.
okay.
You wouldn't hand us a separate check from Nelsonville, you would just, the money would come from the village.
But right now, sorry, it seems to me.
No
we're-
money in, no money out.
Yeah, if Nelsonville refuses to pay a new contract that is structured to include firematic costs and workman's comp and insurance for the building, et cetera.
I just gotta cut you for 1 second, John, do you have a 7 o'clock
Yeah, I
dead
gotta-
time?
I'm
You
sorry.
said, do you have, is there any other questions, attorney? I just had him here. He speaks better than I do. He's calmer.
Nice work, John. Did great.
Yeah, right.
I'll be in touch.
He'll
Maybe we
be-
can hire you. That's fine.
Yeah, that work for both of us?
I think
We got one more.
I think that just comes back to contract negotiations and explaining what the money's for and where it goes.
And
I
in
wouldn't foresee a
Nelsonville,
problem.
and I can see
No.
Nelsonville having mounting the argument that says
Yeah, it's on the controller's
Cold
website.
Spring, the village
I have
of
it
Cold
right here.
Spring Fire Company has guaranteed that they will protect our village. And for
Basic,
that,
but it's-
the
it's
village
good
of Cold Spring
information.
Fire Company is requesting $35,000. So any penny over $35,000, I'm not gonna give you. I'm only going to give you the $35,000 for firematic services, which Cold Spring Fire Company has assured me they will cover our village. So that's it, you don't get a penny more.
Well, I don't think we would ask for a penny. We would ask, for example, for a $100,000 budget, we'd submit to you and tell you this is our operating expenses.
Right.
And you would see what we need the money for. We say
And we
for
don't
turnout your
have
hose.
to, we don't have to break that down
No,
into that number.
I agree, but you're gonna give them a number, and the number
Yes.
is gonna be higher than 30, than.
You're gonna give
30
the number, not
Yes,
us.
Yes.
yes.
We're giving you a number
Yeah.
for
Yes, I
everything,
agree.
and you can figure out what you
As
want
long
to
as the
charge.
number is higher than the number that they currently think they currently are willing to give you, they're not gonna,
Sure.
my
Sure,
opinion,
understood.
is they're not gonna sign.
Right, so, but I think if we don't get past this step, we don't back you. And that was clear from the beginning, you know, it seems like we're signing with them. When we come to an agreement to say, hey, this is how they did it, and then when Nelsonville cries to us, we'll say, hey, we've done it this way now because this is how we're supposed to do it, and you need to pay them in order for us to get paid. Like right now, up until tonight, you know, because we were so far apart, our money is here. In our mind, our money is here, and you won't give it to us. So our blame is more on you because you have our money and won't give it to us. Coming to hopefully the beginning or actual agreement, now it's more of, you know, back to, as he just said, department-wise, we don't care, Nelsonville, and don't cry to us because we are now doing it the way we're supposed to do it and agree to, and you need to pay them so they can pay us. So, I know it's, again, kind of foolish and childish, but that is unfortunately where we're at. So I think us coming to this, and I'm hoping the department completely backs us and just going this route, say, this is the money we need, and we're going to give it to you because you asked us and it's the right thing to do, but you have to pay us no matter what happens out there. I think it swings us to absolutely backing you 100% by saying, you now have to pay them because whatever your problem is, and we're going to take credit for getting the low, if you're willing to, we're going to take credit for taking the LoSAP off the Nelson residents and tell Mr. O'Neill that, say, hey.
What if we tell Mr. O'Neill, what kind of intermunicipal agreement is it, or whatever, as far as, if we say we're not going to provide you with services, then what happens?
They have to.
No,
That's-
what do they have to
that's
go
not-
through?
the village
There's
would have-
not intermunicipal, what's the county has something,
Mutually.
mutual aid, how does that work?
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't
They
work.
don't have a fire department.
Right.
What's that?
They don't have a fire department.
You cannot
have
give
fire
or
protection
receive
for the
mutual
municipality.
aid unless you are a fire department.
Right, they don't have one.
They don't have one. So they are legally, and unfortunately left just in time, but from my understanding, they are legally obligated to have fire
We talked
protection.
about this.
Like you are.
So if you choose not to contract with them, they have to go out and get one.
Okay.
So if
And
they
will
don't
you-
pay,
Will you
there's no
back
fire
us on
protection.
that? If we said, if we send them a
don't pay,
letter
there's
and
no
say,
fire protection.
we sat down and discussed with the Cold Spring Fire Department, and, you know, we can't go on this is our contract, we send them a different contract with just one number, and if you decide you're not going to pay this, then we will cease to provide you with fire protection. If they call you, are you going to go up there?
they don't call us though, direct, like 911, you know
Well,
what I
so-
mean?
so
Yeah,
what
like they're not gonna.
Right,
So
what
what'll
happens
happen?
in the legal system? So what happens if that happens? And this is all from my understanding of the mutual aid program and the county dispatch center. So what happens is we would tell you, the fire company would say, look, this is between you guys. Your attorney needs to contact the Putnam County Bureau of Emergency Services and say, Cold Spring Fire Department is no longer to be dispatched to the calls within the Nelsonville Fire Department.
Right.
So now that is between the county, the law, and they're finding another contract. So when we are all good, which I'm hoping we're very close to being very good, we get to say, they are our boss, we are a fire department, they tell us we can't go, we can't go. That's, you know, like if Mayor O'Neill said, Greg, come fix my fire hydrant, and you say, Greg, don't go fix a fire hydrant. Is he going up there to fix a fire hydrant?
Yeah, but what if
not.
one of your friend's house is burning down? You're gonna go.
Yeah, well, you know,
Right, but if you think about it, and again, plain numbers any way you want,
You'd be
what
surprised.
are those?
I'll be North Islands.
What are those chances? I mean, you know how many? I mean, and again, it could happen.
Covers my house.
It could happen, but the general calls we're not going to go to. If somebody's house is going down, I'm sure you're not going to say don't do it.
See, right now, we don't have any leverage, seemingly don't have any leverage if they just want to balk. What if they say, well, we don't want to pay for that part of your firematic? What if they say that number's too high?
But you
Then they can just do what they're doing now and
there's-
send us a check for whatever they feel.
Right, but there's currently no contract.
I know.
You are in good faith letting us go up there. You don't have to.
We didn't get the sense that we were letting you go there. The sense that I got was that
That's
you
because we weren't getting along. We're better now.
agreed with
Right.
Nelsonville that you would provide
did.
fire protection.
Right.
we
No,
didn't
no, no,
really-
no, no, okay,
we
my
didn't
apologies.
agree.
Let me
Yeah,
retract that.
We didn't
We
agree.
felt that it was unfair that our check was here and you wouldn't give it to us. But, okay, it appears we're past that. So now the true reality is as John had said, you are our boss. We are a fire department. If you tell us we're not going,
We spoke about this at the
We're not
firehouse
going.
before and said if you said we're allowed to go up, we kind
Right.
of went
If
and
you-
filtered through that we're allowed to go up.
Oh, yeah,
and
well,
that was
well, that was different. I think Marie took it as I did, that we said, okay, to negotiate with them. When we said, yes, respond to calls, yeah, because I
Yeah.
thought that was the neighborly
It-
negotiating
it-
thing
it
to
is-
do.
It is.
maybe at the time, but
It is until it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
And then you have the legal right to
then we
to
can't
have
go up.
have the village lawyer
Okay.
They'll send a cease and desist and tell the
I
county.
asked John about it. He couldn't find anything that said that they have to provide. So if you guys have something and know it, John couldn't find it.
For
I just
municipal
can't-
fire
Yeah,
protection,
we,
yeah.
we understood, we
You
thought,
find the law because John couldn't.
I mean, we're very passionate people, and we do this because we care for the community.
I understand
It'd be
that.
hard for us to sit back and not respond to an emergency.
And that's,
Yeah.
and that's
So
understandable.
hopefully we'll never get to that. I mean, one of the solutions for negotiating the contract may be to accept the current or the old terms for the remainder of this year and moving forward for 18, 19, 20, have a 3 or 4 year contract for a lump sum, not service award, explaining that we're gonna move it back to the way it was. We figured out how much it's gonna cost to operate the entire fire company, and we feel based on this assessment, this is the amount that you're responsible for.
But we did that last year. We sent them, and we did exactly what you're saying because it was too late in their budget. They couldn't discuss it. And we said, okay, we'll eat it. So they knew it was coming. Of course, they got another board there, except for one person. But
I think, and I haven't been involved in any of those conversations, but it sounds like the sticking point really is the service award program.
It is, though. It is. It's literally the
That's
terminology which they
Pretty
got
much
held
the
up on.
issue. So if we remove that issue
They
completely.
didn't even.
That should.
well,
probably-
what I asked, and I sent them Bill a letter, and I said, look, if you take away that this is half the payment, then we'll get together wherever you want to get together with the fire company and us, and we'll negotiate it. That still leaves them leverage, still leaves them a half a payment. They can say we're not paying it, but he refused to do that. So I think we want to negotiate in good faith, and if he would just free your money, then that's free, and then the next payment when that's due, if he's still not unhappy, and hopefully we'd be able to negotiate just like we did tonight or work something out that would happen. And then we could cross that bridge, but he seems to be unwilling to do anything. This is the way it's going to be. This is the contract. In fact, they wrote something and sent us to. This is a contract. It's like, to me, that's, an insult, and it's like this is our department. You're sending me the contract. It's like building a house, and you're going to, send someone the contract, and this is how you're going to work for me. so that's why everything was deadlocked, and it's not. I feel not because of us. We're willing to discuss it, and and having this discussion tonight, I'll talk to the board, and I think it's a reasonable way to go about it. And I think one of the problems was that we broke it down to low SAP, and instead of saying this is what the cost is.
Because they would have never have known. You could have basically got away with it, charge them whatever, and they had no clue. They never did.
Our understanding of the general municipal law is that villages and cities must legally provide fire protection. Towns do not have to, which is why they usually end up with fire districts. But our understanding of the general municipal law, which I thought we clarified the first time with Anthony, then the second time with Seth was,
Seth,
and again, this is our understanding, that cities and villages are legally required to provide fire protection.
And do you have that anywhere? Because like I said, I brought that up to John as leverage, and we could. And I think we called NICOM too. We did call NICOM.
Sometimes they don't get back to it.
Well, no, they got back
They
to
got
us.
to you and said
Yeah,
no.
that's-
Unless they didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
You're gonna try using that as leverage, saying that we're not gonna go to Nelsonville. You
Well-
guys, all 5 of you, I assume, drive through Nelsonville on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
No.
Now, if you get in a car accident or something happens in Nelsonville,
Mhm.
now you have nobody responding to help you or other village members from here
Or anybody.
that are going through there, or anybody that lives there,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And you guys drive through there. You are the ones that we would go and pull out of cars if there was a bad car accident. So you're gonna cut fire protection that could possibly affect yourselves because you're having an argument.
Good point.
We're not having an argument.
No, he's making a good point though.
It's
Right.
a good point.
You
but
drive
we are
through there every day. I
negotiating.
see you in Nelsonville. Do you not?
My son
Don't
lives
you
in
know?
Nelsonville.
Exactly.
Maybe
No,
his
I
house
know.
burns
I'm
down
saying
and nothing happens, and he dies in there with his girlfriend and new baby.
But that's what I'm saying. It's
We're
your
better fire
families,
department.
it's
We're
people
better,
that you
yeah.
grew up with,
If
people that you've
We're
been
quicker
with.
if by law they have to have fire protection, then we have some recourse. If not, what would you suggest that would change their mind? They could just.
Not have fire
They could go
protection
elsewhere
ever.
and
yeah.
see what that costs. They could
Well,
Yeah.
we
check
know
down the
what-
road, see
we
what that
know
bill
what
is.
it costs. We know exactly what the cost is for the North Highlands Fire District. We know exactly what the cost is for the Garrison Fire District.
So if by law they have to have it, and then they can go shop around, and then they would have to get it, that means that they would have protection, but it would be North Highlands or Garrison.
And it would
Or,
It'll be a lot more money.
Astronomical, yeah.
well, which brings us
Yeah.
back to, okay, that's some leverage for us, because this is a
Correct.
deal, and are you gonna go to your taxpayers and say, we're not dealing with them because of LoSAP, we're gonna pay twice as much and work with North Highlands?
It's like their taxpayers have to be the ones upset that they don't have fire protection. Again, it's not.
Well, I think there's something to be said, stating that, good neighbors, we're extending this, but that, it doesn't give them a right also not to pay their fair share. And unfortunately, we were far apart on what we thought fair shares were, and I think we're not there anymore. I think we're in a much better place. But the reality is Nelsonville has got a lot of benefits of the Village of Cold Spring in the past, and we're not going to argue that. And I think at some point in time, good neighbors are not. They need to be held to something to say, it's again, why are our taxpayers burdening everything you're going to have to pay? And we don't want to go there, but I think at some point in time, you can't give it away forever. And I think that's the unfortunate problem that you have. That, when having us on board, if we are, completely reverses the playing field, and then they have to make that decision.
Well, if they know you're working with us and we're working together and we're offering them something we think's fair, that's what's kind of
The old
puzzling to me.
contract actually had mediation and everything in it, but unfortunately that contract's way gone now. So that's an 09 contract. But
If
that
you guys,
kinda
if you
was
guys
there.
can find that somewhere, if there's a
The
law,
general municipal law?
yeah, if you
I'll
can,
look.
I would.
Yeah,
I
you
think
will.
I'll
that would
look,
be
yeah.
that would be something to add to it. Like I said, we'll discuss your approach. I think that we can do that and get things moving.
I do have a question. I'm just doing the math on, I know. So in 2015, the fire company budget for Nelsonville fire tax, this was Firematic only, was $34,076. 1% on top of that would be $34,416, but in the email, it was $35,045.75. And
Which is bigger? That's what we want.
I'm not going to tell you. Go back and do the math again.
We will.
Could you check the math? It's off by $500, something like
Is
that.
see, I don't know. We did it.
We'll
I
look
didn't do
again.
That one is hard to do, I don't know.
We'll look again.
Okay.
Okay, because it was when we went through it, it was just going to be 1%, but again, it was an assessed value, so they were assuming. There was a note on the bottom of that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you see it.
I just
Yeah.
got the note forwarded. There was no attachment.
Okay, so.
So I just did a quick look at it.
On the roof, as Dan said, that took a long time, and that's on me because I thought that putting out a bid for a roof wouldn't be so hard, but of course it is prevailing wage, and so I discussed it with so many
Excuse
people,
me,
and
did he address that? I mean, because again, I don't
He
know where
didn't.
you want to go, but in the past,
He didn't
the company would get work done and have it through our budget.
yeah, we couldn't do that. Well, that's what he said.
Just no way to do
Like
it.
if you did that with not prevailing wage, and then we paid you a check for the same exact
No.
amount.
So what we used to do in the past, we would just increase our budget.
Yeah, our
until
budget
you
would
caught
go up
up.
75,000.
It wasn't a pass through. So so we would.
Could be. Awesome.
Well, you can't do pass through because you're not paying prevailing wages. So,
So
the company
you were-
itself did it.
Yeah.
And then what we did in the past, and I'm not advocating, and I don't know if the department's going for it. I'm just explaining to you how we used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last time that I remember was the roof. So we paid to have the roof done through the company, and then we increased our budget, a little bit. For over 5 years, we just increased our budget to
Right.
resupply our budget decrease or our budget expense.
I hear you.
And we weren't, and at the time, had nothing to do with trying to beat the system prevailing wage. It's just that, as usual, our fund balance was healthier than the village's just by way of nature. So it was just easier for us to work together and get it done for a necessity for both. And I'm not by no means am I advocating beating this system, the prevailing wage. But at the same time, it is it is that whole trying to work together and collaborate and and save the taxpayers money through not having you do A, prevailing wage, or B, put all the money out at one time. Because when we buy, our fire trucks are every 10 years. So, we have some space to absorb a loss of some, some interest in those few years. And I don't know that we would do that, but again, trying to get back to the way things were, if that's what you wish, that's how we did things. It was easier for us because we can expend our money at any time. You're mostly, it's completely line item. We have the money to go to emergency, spending where it's harder for you. So we were, a lot of projects were willing to, take on that outlay of money. But again, these are just food for thought. And
I'll talk to John about it. I know we talked to him about it, but it was more,
right, but we
I think
weren't,
the thing was.
Right, but you were looking to pay us right
full,
back.
yeah.
Right, and it would be, and again, I mean, I'm sure you can interpret it any way you want, and he could be scared to death of that, but, that's just something that,
Okay.
In conversation.
I will
Would you
follow up
also
on
be
that.
willing to say, we budgeted $80,000 and the bids came in higher, would you be willing to make up the difference and then we pay you that back over
Well,
a
I
number
guess
of
the
years?
problem would be, is, I mean, if it's gonna be, probably not.
Discussion.
But it'd be discussion, you'd
Yeah.
have to.
We thought that,
And
we
'cause
thought
if
it
we
was.
bid it, you get
Right,
away
you
with
guys
it.
can get, I understand.
But again, I don't know that that's a good idea.
Right.
Again, we're just saying that in the past, that's how we operated. And if it's legal and allowable, we would absolutely 100% consider it.
Gotcha.
As Ralph said, we had repairs in the past where the door broke and the village didn't have money in the budget to make
The
the
line item.
repair.
Right,
We made the repair with the understanding they would pay us back through an increase in the budget the following year, and that's how we got stuff fixed at the
Right.
fire.
So,
Because the roof that bids came in, there were only two. One was 115,000, and one was from Nyack, 235,000.
throw out the lowest and the highest, you've got nothing, right?
So those are the only two bids. And talking to Dave Maroney, he thought with guys from Westchester that it was going to come at 115. So
So maybe it just is.
we have to either come up with 35 or put a bid out again, or follow up follow up on what you were talking about, and
Yeah, I
see if
mean,
we can do that.
Again, we're open, to try to get back to where we need to be, we're open to anything and everything.
Right. So in conclusion, can we get the information that we would like, the actuals?
We could bring it back to the board on last Thursday and see what they say. I don't.
I think that'll.
So
I
I
think
could-
we'll be in this position, or if you're saying it's kicking the can or anything, we're just going to move ahead. We'll draft another. We'll draft
Not the actuals, the expenses you're talking about.
What's that?
Yes,
The
the
expenses.
actual,
Yeah.
where you spend your money.
And revenues, and then I'll draft another contract, I guess, and send that to. Send
Nelson.
a number. I think that's what we did anyway, but I'll double check.
Can we
I've kind of been lost at
sort
that.
of consolidate this into something so that we all agree, like write something that, covers everything we discussed tonight so that we're all on the same page?
Well, that's gonna be hard to do with tomorrow's meeting.
Newspapers got it.
with
Well, we
newspapers.
Let me know if you need another pen.
We can push
Got a
off
couple in my
tomorrow's
bag.
meeting. Or I told Richard I'd call
I
him.
think that would be best.
I'll put off tomorrow's discussion with Richard, their budget discussion. We're supposed to meet.
So we're not going to that.
No,
It's fine.
If
We'll be
Tonight's on
going.
my
We're going
But I don't, our number's not gonna change the,
Oh, I never did
Yes, it will.
change with them.
Yes, it will.
Yeah. And it might change even more if you're gonna be
Right,
going
because you're
to a
going
full
to-
number.
Can you give
Might-
us,
right,
you
understood,
gave us
understood, yeah.
Phillipstown and Nelson, or would you give us Cold Springs number too? Because you haven't given us that.
Yeah,
I mean,
that, yeah,
we're not-
absolutely.
we're not
Yeah,
in
again,
budget.
I didn't have,
Right, we're
At
not in
the time, they
budget
didn't ask for it,
cycle,
so.
but we will be soon.
Right.
it's fine, it's easier for us.
and they're open meetings, so if you guys want to attend, I'll let you know when the next one. Well, I'll tell them to reschedule tomorrow's meeting. And I don't think Nelsonville's is
They
until
don't really.
there's down the road. So
Yeah, usually when we're there, crickets when our numbers comes up,
Yeah.
because it's so low compared to
yeah, I
everybody
know.
else's.
I've been there.
Compared
I was
with
on the board
everybody
when you
else's.
came.
All right,
I don't have
Yeah.
a problem. So yeah, and I've already talked to Richard. I don't think it's a problem, but it's still not a problem, and it shouldn't be a problem in Nelsonville.
Probably won't be for a while.
Anything else?
Could I make a comment, please? My name
Sure.
is Larry Lyons. I'd like to comment as a private citizen. I live on Church Street. I admire you guys for being financially responsible and fiscally doing your due diligence. And I don't really have a problem with as a taxpayer, I'd like to see the actuals. I don't think it's a big deal because there's nothing there that's a problem. But the conventional wisdom here in the town and the people I speak to, my office is the bench in front of the clock store. I sit there and I talk to people. Is that this board is not very firehouse friendly. Maybe we could take a step to change that. And I think we have a great deal tonight. And also, I'd like to ask not to look past the primary purpose. Not too long ago, a couple of months ago, 11 o'clock at night, Josh and Jeff Phillips pulled a bleeding man with a broken back out of an upside-down car at 11 o'clock at night. And if you go by cost per call, cost by call on a Tuesday, what it costs for helmets, that's what it costs. So I think that that's our purpose. And I admire these guys for doing that. And I don't know if you can put a cost on that kind of thing. So, in the world of spreadsheets, that's how it's done. This is the world we live in. But, let's take a look at what's really going on.
Thank you,
That's all I
Mr.
have.
Lyons.
Well, I don't think anyone, hopefully you don't think that we don't appreciate you because we're acting actuals.
Absolutely no.
And I don't think
No.
Cold Spring, I don't think Cold
But,
Spring or
conventional
Phillips.
wisdom is
Right.
it's a fickle thing. So, it's an appearance. That's all.
I'm just, what this all came out about is Nelsonville refusing to pay. I don't think Cold Springs balked at your costs. I don't think Phillips Town's balked at your costs.
Yeah.
Nelsonville technically
Nelsonville
has.
balking
Yeah, they don't
Yours.
even.
for like
Yeah.
$2,000 or
But not-
something, so.
Alright.
Anyway, I totally appreciate it. I don't know, I appreciate hopefully. And I don't know why you feel that we're attacking you guys either. I don't know. I don't feel that way. I don't feel any kind of resentment for you or anything else. I just want some numbers, and I just want to, as we ask everyone else. That's a problem. I don't know. Then I guess
You're the problem.
then I'm the problem. Yeah. So, and you just wait a few years, and I'll be gone. And
Do you know if Jeff addressed the door today or yesterday?
I didn't talk to him. He didn't. I'll do it tomorrow. We can call Duchess. Duchess is who
Duchess,
I-
yeah.
Well, I don't know, that's why I said, I wasn't sure, because I know we've gone a couple different garage door companies in the past, that's why I wasn't sure.
I think they've been
Hey, it's
working
going
with
with
us and
Duchess.
working with us down at, so if you want to call them and have it done, or do you want us to?
I just figured you guys, I don't know if, that's why I said, that's why it's been in the past, is whatever on the building was you guys through.
Okay.
Because the bill goes to you.
I'll tell Jeff
Yeah,
tomorrow,
'cause
or I'll call
Mary
him.
always, that's why I told Jeff that, I said, just look up the history or whatever, I don't know who's,
Okay.
that's how it's been, so.
I thought Duchess has worked with you guys before.
They have.
There's
Yeah.
no one on file, like, there was no bill ever paid to any overhead door company that we could. Yeah, we looked in the,
Michelle's not in, so she could probably find something.
so we're going with Duchess,
I thought,
That's fine.
because they're doing,
It doesn't
they're
matter.
doing the one down there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It was a long time ago.
Well, no, I don't, no, because we just had somebody not too long ago, because Matt was talking about the garage door button or something, remember that? We were gonna put
Yeah,
the code
Yeah.
Tobin had that cone.
Yeah, it was a cone with
No,
the
we
front
wanted
of
to
the
put the keypad
sensor.
on the front door last
Alright.
year, or the year before, remember? But I don't remember, because the button wasn't working.
I'll call tomorrow morning
We'll
first
figure it
thing.
All right, everybody, thanks for having us,
Thank you.
always a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Thank you.
You know where to find us.
154 maybe? Dial 901.
Hold me on, I don't even know if I made sense.
You did make sense.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Looking into this. This is good. This was a good night.
It's freezing in here.
Time did you guys start?
6.
Well, we can keep talking. I think we should decide on what you think of those ideas, and as far as sending them a bill and raising, figure out our total cost and what we spend each year for maintenance and everything else. I'm not saying that we disperse all that money, but a number, They're giving us their number.
I mean, we just need, and I think, I remember this discussion with Ellen and Mary years ago about administrative costs and stuff like that, and I wasn't totally tuned into it, but, I mean, it is administrative costs, and I understand what they're saying, I don't remember, the amount of money for LoSAP, but if we just total LoSAP, total everything else, I'm not sure we can pass on roof and air conditioning and floor and all that kind of stuff, but maybe a percentage of that. And I'm not sure that's considered administrative cost.
Well, I'm not saying, I mean, we can include that or see what the number comes up to. I do think it's our discretion to charge them a number we feel is reasonable.
Well, if you add all our maintenance and overhead to our amount that we're being charged by them, it's quite a bit
Or that
bigger.
it costs, not charged by them, but it costs the
Now,
village.
the question is, where do we come up with that number? Because do we give them a percentage of the previous year's numbers, which we have, and we can justify, or do we assume next year's numbers?
Right. Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be all those numbers. I mean, but if we're trying to work it out so that the residents aren't gonna get stiffed for the LoSAP, then what do you do? Or, so we're talking a few $1,000s.
LoSAP, the residents' bills
Keep
will
going
go
up
up.
every year though.
What's that?
The residents' bills
The
will go
residents
up.
will go up, but won't, if they go up, won't if we're bringing in more money, won't taxes go down proportionally?
It depends upon how the ratio of LoSAP costs to fire company overhead costs. Is it a 1-to-1 or is LoSAP higher? LoSAP has two components. One is the service award program itself, which is like an annuity, and the second part is the LoSAP administrative costs. Both of those, we've been told, can be charged as LoSAP costs, and we did include both of those for both Phillipstown and Nelsonville. I'll take a look to see what those were. What I'm looking for is the budget, our budget, to see what the overhead costs are.
Marie, will that help you?
I'm sorry?
Will that help you?
No. Sorry, that tells me what the LoSAP costs are and the LoSAP admin costs. What I'm looking for is the overhead for the fire company.
No, that I don't.
So, heating oil, electricity, insurance,
Repairs.
right.
There's a line budget. Budget there.
Let me see if I have online a version of the budget.
What
So
about,
the LoSAP and PenFlex, what's the total number there? If you add the two of them
Including
together.
workers' comp. For
Just
seven-
LoSAP and PenFlex.
Okay, for 16-17, it was 75,000.
Okay, so I can guarantee you that the overhead, the fixed costs for maintaining the building
It's less than that.
are not $75,000. So
But I guess I wasn't clear. It's like, I think we can charge them
them being,
a number, we can charge the other municipalities a number that we feel represents a reasonable amount.
But I think they're also gonna ask us, where did you get this number from? We're going to have to give them. an
Well, then we'll say it's
explanation.
administrative cost for us to bill you out, or I don't know what, but I'm saying there's gotta be a way
I mean,
to,
a big piece of the number is gonna be the number the fire company needs.
right.
Well, our costs go up, electricity's higher,
And what
oil
about,
maybe higher. or
fuel? Do
whatever.
we pay for fuel on those trucks?
yeah,
Yeah.
the gasoline goes into the revolving account. The diesel, I think we pay for. And I don't know what the trucks burn. Do they burn diesel?
Yeah, except for the pickup and
Right.
the chief's car. So, they use it.
Uh,
They don't drive it. I don't think they use it that much.
What?
Often they drive the trucks around. I mean, it's not like they're going to fire every day or something. So it's probably not, their usage for the engine's probably not that high.
They have the water
Their
bill.
electricity and their hot water and the heat and all that, that's where the real money's going.
Electricity is high.
Yeah.
So the LoSAP for Nelsonville, or is, how much was it that was,
Do you have it should be on there.
I don't know if I have all of this.
was it like $3,000?
I think so.
I think it was. tax. Let's see, total Nelsonville.
This is Phillipstown for 16-17.
Workman's comp, Nelsonville was 118.17. Fireman Service Award, Nelsonville was a total of 7,269 for Workman's comp and Fire Service Award. Phillipstown was 3,300 and 17,000 for a total of $20,828.
But what was the service award for Nelsonville?
The
Or
service
it's not
award.
broken down?
Yeah, it is. The
Oh.
service award for Nelsonville, $5,452.
What is it, 5,400?
$5,452 for Nelsonville, for Fireman Service Award. The LoSAP numbers total were 65,000 for LoSAP, $4,750 for LoSAP admin, and $22,579 for workman's comp. So the total overhead for Penflex, which is LoSAP, Penflex admin, which is the administrative costs that Penflex charges us for them to administer the annuity, and workman's comp comes to $90,929.46. It's not a pittance.
But what they're suggesting about pulling LoSAP out of the picture, we're not suggesting pulling workers' comp out. The 22,000 workers' comp stays divided among the other municipalities.
Yeah.
In addition
Right.
to
Right.
the heating, the electricity, and everything else.
Right.
So
But
that,
the
that's
workman's
22,000.
comp is approximately one-third
One-third of the whole
of
thing,
the
right.
overall $90,000. Sorry, it's less than one-third,
It's about a quarter.
because one of them is essentially 70,000, the others. This is Excel, so these numbers should add up. Why are they adding up?
And that from Michelle, not too.
So what we're looking for is either from Nelsonville finding a way to recoup $5,400 or
To recoup $7,269.
no, workers' comp we're leaving in there.
Oh, okay.
So it'd be 54.52.
Right.
54.52, right.
And
It's every 6 months.
Phillipstown 17.
Phillipstown doesn't bat an eye, whatever you tell them.
Right. So, well, and if we'll
17.
we'll send them
451.
the amount that they're asking,
Plus the
and
workers-
this is
plus
the
the
amount.
workers' comp.
Yeah.
Plus the percentage of whatever the expenses
So
are
we have
for
to
the
wait
year.
for them to.
We also gotta have Michelle crunch some numbers for us when she
Right.
gets back in.
So, budget. Budget.
The number, that sheet that you just had,
That was the letter to Phillipstown.
that was Phillipstown.
I
So,
don't have
and that's how it's been presented before with the service award on it. And so those numbers.
That's the way
are-
we've sent it to Susan Kenny every year.
And that's the number that's requested this year again.
Well, no, this year it's probably a little bit, and I don't have a
Right,
copy of
is
this
that
year's.
1% higher?
No, what it would be a percentage of whatever the number
Right,
came in.
okay.
I think we were a little lower this year because the LoSAP.
So what we gotta do
LoSAP
is,
went down.
we have to
LoSAP
bundle
did go
those
down,
numbers.
yeah.
And this is what it costs for fire protection using the
But
village.
we have to make a decision whether we're gonna bundle these numbers or whether we're going to not bundle these and bundle or let Phillipstown pick up a piece of the LoSAP and let Nelsonville pick up the admin costs. The admin costs. So we'll pull LoSAP up. But whatever it is,
But if that's included in them, that means they're actually paying the percentage of LoSAP. So then if we pay, and what Danny's saying is we have honor bill, we pay 100% of that, then isn't that a wash? Because we're getting the money from them. So even if
but
it's
no, this is-
100%, oh, I see, then the taxes go up there
When our
and they're
bill,
the same.
we're not getting 100%.
Right,
They're
exactly.
getting that, when you send this to
Right.
Susan, this is how she sets their tax bill for the year.
No,
Because they have a line, I think they have a line, does Phillipstown have a line for, fire service awards? Separate?
So the money we receive from Phillipstown and Nelsonville goes into a specific line on our budget for fire protection. Is that right or not?
Goes into a specific line on our budget.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually,
Okay, so
two specific
gasoline,
lines.
gasoline is a clearing account, so that really doesn't matter. Heating oil is a budget about $10,000. Diesel's $2,000. The siren is 17. Somebody counting this up?
The siren?
No,
I've got it.
I don't know if
Okay,
I don't think we're gonna go, I don't think we go there. I'm just
12,000, 14,000,
just for now.
16,000.
I'm trying to figure out if they're sending money, okay.
23,
I make a motion to adjourn,
27.
seriously.
Yeah, no, because we need Michelle to run these numbers
It,
for us.
it appears as
Those
it's
were-
about $27,000 is the overhead for the budget, although I don't see any insurance. Insurance is probably in the bundled insurance package for the building.
The 27,000 plus the workers' comp, which is another 22,000.
The 20, correct, plus workman's comp. And I don't think we have a line item for fire workman's comp.
We must, because Michelle pulled it for me.
I don't see anything here. Fire, I don't see anything under fire department, workman's comp. Oh, wait a minute, I do, sorry, Fran. So, workman's comp fireman is 20, oh, as I said, it's 22,000, whatever.
22,579.46, yeah, that should be that line.
Okay.
17, 18.
And that is a separate line.
Yeah. All right, we'll have to look at all the numbers and just, you know, get some figures for the past couple of years of what the expenses were and figure
Well,
out how
the,
to figure this.
the thing about the past couple of years is, it's not quite a straight line, but LoSAP and workers' comp has just been steadily climbing.
Right.
We did an analysis on that. Let me see if I can find that.
But with an eye toward what? Sending them a bill with one single number on it, and don't worry how we got there? I mean, is that?
With an eye toward pulling LoSAP off of the bill to Nelsonville and Phillipstown and adding on more administrative costs. So that
And their bill's gonna go down. If we do that, sorry.
It doesn't have to go down, because
I want
we can set the cost of what we think our fire company's worth.
Right, whether we have, just as a matter of
Right.
opinion, not expenses, like,
I don't
if
think we
everyone
have
else
to
is at
justify
30,000.
every penny of it.
No, I think we should, we should do an
Well, it doesn't work
analysis.
anyway, we did that with the LoSAP and they don't wanna pay it now, so
I
if
think
you
we can do an
justify.
analysis of what it's, you know, if you take the workers' comp and the admin fees for the LoSAP, you're looking at $27,000.
Okay, so LoSAP went up 13%. Workman's comp, this is year over year. Workman's comp went up 6.3%, and the Penflex admin cost went up 3.4%. The total year-to-year increase was 11.2%.
So I think we just need to look at all the numbers and come up with a figure that says, you know, your portion is,
But regardless of what the percentage it goes up 50%, and we send and when we send them a bundled contract, they're saying this is what it costs. That's reflected in it. That's what we're doing now.
and as John-
That's how we're presenting Phillipstown's right now.
and as John says.
It's not past practice or past percentages. We're whatever the percentage was, and the increase in the cost to us is reflected in the bill. We just sent both of them.
What was reflected in the bill that we sent to both of them, I may be going to agree with you, was what the fire company had told us was what the amount that they needed.
Right.
Plus the allocation of workman's comp, LoSAP, and Penflex
Right.
based upon assessed value.
the percentage.
But the,
The
yeah,
percentage, yes.
Right, which we have
but
come to the conclusion how that's the only way we can do it,
It-
or it's a way to do it that seems the most sensible when
But
when
what
compared to
John
the
said,
mills.
I mean, what
Right.
John said more than once tonight was basically he's never seen a contract or an agreement between municipalities that breaks things down. It's one number. This is how much you pay us this year, and then this is how much you pay us next year.
The thing is, they have a number in mind. Nelsonville has a number in
Yeah,
mind.
well, we're gonna have to
And anything
eventually,
that goes up from there,
we're gonna have to eventually break them of that number.
anything that, if I were them, I'd say, wait a minute, it's going up?
Why?
Yeah,
LoSAP,
well,
oh, okay.
Right,
Right, but they didn't say, oh, okay.
But they can't, we can't get.
So
even
what's
LoSAP.
what's the alternative?
I don't have one.
Well, the alternative is if we send them that number, it's packaged, and if they don't want to have fire protection from the village, then they can go elsewhere.
Yes, I agree with that.
And their taxpayers are not going to like the results of
I mean,
that.
They could put it up for a referendum.
They could put what up? Whether they like it
In
or
November,
not.
if they act quick, because
They
it's
don't
coming up
have,
soon.
they can't,
Too
they
late.
can only
This year.
vote in March. They're still on the March schedule.
Oh, that's right, they didn't change, we did. Oh, well.
Okay, well,
Let's
let's
get our head
digest a
around
bunch
this.
of this, talk to Michelle, get all the numbers. I don't think we can, we're 23,900 is what, I judge it from the numbers you gave me is what LoSAP's costing the other municipalities. 17,000 plus for Phillipstown, 5 plus for Nelsonville. So if we keep it included and Phillipstown doesn't have a problem, and then we move that on, and we just sent, I thought the last contract we sent to Nelsonville
Yeah, but I mean,
was just a
you know,
number.
What we just said and what sounded more logical is that we pull LoSAP out of the picture and just give them administrative costs. Give them one lump sum.
We just say this is a
administrative
number and we
costs.
deal
This
with
is-
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but when, just, this is the administrative cost, this is what it costs us, your share of what it costs us to run the fire company.
but then if we're billing on our bill, well, right now on the bill, it doesn't say it's 100% or 50%. It says this is what we're asking for LoSAP, so we can keep that the same
On what bill?
on the
Well,
village
bill
bill.
too.
Yeah, but on the bill, it's just gonna say we want
Exactly.
$40,000
For
or
LoSAP.
$38,000, no, we
Right.
want $38,000, and then we give the fire company their 33, and we keep the 5, roughly, round figures. We're not gonna break it down, we're gonna give them one number.
Right, exactly. But we can't say, if we say that we're gonna pay 100% of the LoSAP, then on the bill, that number would go up. Is the tax
on the
bill
tax
have
bill,
LoSAP on it, or is it
It has fire protection.
fire protection?
It's fire protection, I think, and Michelle works those numbers out.
Okay,
every year and sends
let's
them
see
out
how
to
that's broken
Susan.
down, and if that's
Yeah.
it, and it's incorporated in one number for fire protection,
We'd have to
then
see
it's
what-
not a problem.
Well, they seem to be under the impression that Nelsonville, that we're avoiding paying our fair share of LoSAP and we're sticking them with it. I mean, is that what is driving this whole?
They're saying we didn't
thing?
vote for that.
Which is unfortunately where all this thing comes from. the village
But do they
comes
always
from.
vote for their fire budget? That's our bill.
No,
They don't
no,
vote
no.
on bills
It's
from
not-
the oil
It's
company
not the
or.
fire budget, it's the
anyone
villagers of Cold Spring voted to give the fire company LoSAP.
No, I understand that.
And that's what they, and.
Oh, I
Nelson
see,
Bill
you're
did
saying
not.
that way. I'm just.
We also voted on a budget, or agreed on a budget number, so they can
Yeah.
balk at that too. They can balk at anything we do if they want to, I would think.
Okay, so the contract that went to Nelsonville said 75 cents per thousand for fire protection services and 23 cents per thousand for workman's comp and the fire service award program and administration
Okay,
thereof.
so we didn't change that.
And administration thereof, so.
Right,
So we need to,
that's Penflex.
right, no, I know that, but it didn't say administrative costs in terms of other costs that it costs us to take care of the fire company.
No, we never
Oil or gas or
included,
heat or
we
any of
never
that.
include, that has never been included in
So
any
that's gonna be
contract.
the new contract is gonna have to say that kind of administrative cost.
Well, let's talk to
And we
John and
need
see
to-
what has to be specific, or if they say, well, what's that including, how much you have to break it down.
That's what it costs for us to give you fire protection.
I know, well, that's what it is, but that doesn't seem to make any sense.
I mean,
Makes sense to me.
if it's anything other than, I put money, I'm gonna go up to 50 cents on this.
Oh,
I have, wait, let me see what
quarters?
I have in my
I
pocket.
wanna know who won the bet before.
I did, and I never collected. I'm going up to a quarter,
right, okay.
okay? I'm going, if it's any,
Illegal.
Huh?
It's illegal to gamble, but go ahead.
Anything over 75 cents, $1,000, they're gonna question it.
And why are we telling, we're coming up with a number though. We don't have to say how that number's
I'm for that.
produced. This is the number it's gonna cost you.
Okay, so let's say.
Then they're gonna balk at that number, I agree.
And
Right,
maybe come with some price information on the other fire companies in the area and what they charge and see how that.
well, I think the last time I looked on, Garrison was over $2 per thousand. And North Highlands was about $1.80, something like that. I thought I put it in here. So the cost to go elsewhere, if the fire company that you're trying to negotiate with is willing to do it, is significant.
So why should we be so much cheaper to help them out? I don't know.
The reason why, in my opinion, one of the reasons why it is less expensive is that the Village of Cold Springs building that houses the fire company is bought and paid for.
In falling apart according to them.
If we look at North Highlands, they have a new building.
Yeah.
If you look at Garrison.
Still
they
paying
have
for that.
a new- The fire district is burdened with that cost.
Right.
Right. So
So we're a better deal.
I believe that, and Doug, you can correct us on this, I believe that the budget for the Garrison Fire Company that's currently up for review is in the $700,000 range.
Yeah, it's within like 6,000 of last year. I want to say it's like 760 or something.
Okay.
You were there too.
Okay. And so $750,000
Ballpark.
versus $125,000 for here versus for there. It's a world of difference. I suspect North Highlands budget, which I don't know that is publicly available.
No, they're actually pretty good about it. It is publicly available, but it's not been controversial.
How much, do you have any clue?
I have to tell you, I don't know what it is offhand.
Mike? But I believe that the rate on their tax bills is in the range of $1.85 for North Highlands, and it's over $2 for Garrison.
There's definitely more than here. I don't remember the numbers. I know I've seen them in the past.
Yeah, this for Nelsonville would be $1.01. But I've always felt, I don't have the numbers to prove it, that one of the reasons why the difference in costs is the cost of the building, the structure that houses the fire company.
Well, like North Highland, if you just look at them, I think they probably have 3 or 4 new vehicles. They also have more.
You got 4 or 5
truck.
bays in the building
They,
as well.
and that is one thing to their credit, the Cold Spring Fire Company. I don't know that they have ever purchased new. They always look for value, and they're able to find used trucks that have significant serviceability left on them for very good prices. So they may have a $700,000 fund for purchasing a new truck. I can guarantee you they're not going to be purchasing a $1 million truck. It's just not going to happen. They don't do things like that. They're very prudent with their money.
Say it again, fast. Well, second.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?